Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rachel from Evelyn and Peter, and today I have a cute crochet bag pattern for you all. So I used Lion Brand's Rewind yarn for this cute little bag. I'm a little bit obsessed with it. I love how it turned out, and it is super easy to do. You only need 3 skeins of the Rewind yarn. So I used Willow and Elm. So you'll need 2 skeins in your main color and then just 1 in the color that you're going to do your stripes in. And then a 6mm hook to make it. It's worked from the bottom up in the round, and in this tutorial I will show you guys how to join at the seam to kind of eliminate the seam in the back. So let's see, here's my seam right here, and you can see that it is a lot less noticeable than what it normally would be if you're doing a regular slip stitching and joining. So I have all of that explained in the tutorial. So you are going to be noticing that we will be slip stitching from back to front instead of front to back like you're probably used to seeing. That just helps us get rid of the seam a little bit. So there's that. Let's see, what else do you need to know? Don't worry if you see my nails going back and forth, my nail colors. I had to refilm a couple of the shots in this tutorial, so I didn't want that to throw anybody off. It is in the correct order, so don't worry about that, just in case you noticed that. And let's see, the free pattern is on my blog post as usual. I'll have that linked in the description. The kit is available on Lion Brand, and I'll have that linked as well. It comes with all the yarn you need to make your bag, and then you can change the colors if you want, and it also comes with the digital download of the pattern. Let's see, the patterns will also be on my Etsy and Ravelry, and I'll link to all of that and all the information you need. All the specifics for yardage and stuff like that are on my blog post. So if you're making this bag with the video, I recommend that you head on over to my blog post and follow along with that as you're making the bag, just to keep track of your stitch count and stuff like that. It's very simple. The bottom, we will be doing some increasing, and then once you reach this main portion, there's no more increasing or anything like that. You're just gonna be working in the round. So it's pretty easy to do once you get into this main body of the pattern, and then I'll show you how to do the handles. And then I added these cute little French knots, and then just some weaving back and forth through here with these opposite colors. And then of course I just added a cute little tassel on it. That's totally optional. And then on the inside there's actually a pocket as well, so I'll show you how to add that little pocket to the side if you want that. But yeah, this is a pretty simple, straightforward pattern. I hope you guys like it. I'll throw in the pattern too how to change the length of the straps if you want your straps a little bit longer. I'll add that in as an option. You'll have plenty of leftover yarn to be able to do that. So let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments below, and as always, I hope you guys love this tutorial, and I will see you in the next one. So for this project, you're going to need 3 skeins of Lion Brand Rewind yarn. I'm using 2 in the color Elm and then 1 in the color Willow. You're also going to need a 6mm crochet hook, and then you might want a stitch marker just in case you need a little help keeping track of your rounds, a pair of scissors, and a yarn needle to weave in your ends. So we're going to be starting on the bottom of the bag. So we're going to begin with a slip knot. So go ahead and wrap the yarn around your fingers, and then just grab that yarn and pull it through, and then insert your hook and pull tight to secure. And we're going to begin with a starting chain. For the amount of chains you need is 29. So when we chain, we just yarn over our hook and pull it through the loop on our hook, and that equals 1 chain. So there's 1 and 2, 3, and we're just going to do this a total of 29 times. So go ahead and make your chain, and I will meet you back at the end. So after we have our starting chain, we're going to be working our way back down and then around it and back up the other side. So our first stitch is going to be in the second chain from the loop. So we have the loop on our hook, the chain closest, and then that second chain is where we're going to be working our stitches. And you want to rotate it and work it into the back bump. So it's really important that you do this correctly for this first round. It helps keep the bottom of the bag secure. So don't put your hook under that first loop right there in the chain. You want to rotate it, and then that little back bump is where we will be putting our hook for this round. So rotate your starting chain, and then I will show you where to put your hook. It might be a little bit tricky at first just getting it into this first little chain. It can be kind of hard with the slippery soft tape yarn, but just go ahead and insert your hook in the back bump and work 1 single crochet, and then that very same spot you're going to work a second single crochet, and then again in the very same back bump a third, and you're going to do this a total of 6 times. So we're going to be working 6 single crochet into the back bump of the second chain from the hook. And once you have all 6 single crochet, we're just going to continue down the chain by working 1 single crochet into each remaining chain in the back bump. So again, insert your hook into the back bump. It might be a little tricky for this first round. You really want to make sure that you do it in the correct spot to keep the bottom of our bag nice looking. So insert it in, work your single crochet, and then just do this in every single chain till you get to the very end, and then I will show you guys how to work that last section and to rotate and come back up the other side. So 1 single crochet in each chain till that very last chain. So once you reach the final chain, we're going to be working another 6 single crochet into it, just like we did on the other side. So in that back bump again of the very last chain, insert your hook and work a total of 6 single crochet stitches. So insert hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, a total of 6 times. So once you have those 6 single crochet in that final chain, you can see it's kind of rotated us. So now we're facing the other way, and we're just going to be working our stitches into the bottom of the chain to work our way back up to that first stitch. So in the very next chain, right after you work your 6 single crochet, you're going to be working just a regular single crochet into the bottom of it. Again, insert your hook. You can see I'm putting it underneath both of those loops on the bottom. So on our way down, we did it in the back bump, and now on our way back up, I'm putting it under both of the loops. So just work 1 single crochet into each chain until you reach the first single crochet that you made of the round. So once you get to the end of the first round, you should have a total of 64 single crochet. And now we're just going to be joining before starting round 2. So we're going to be joining a little bit differently than probably what you're used to. Instead of working a slip stitch front to back into the first single crochet of the round made, we are going to remove our hook and put it into the first stitch back to front. So it's the same thing, just backwards, and then grab the little loop from your last stitch made and place it back on your hook, and then just pull the loop through the first stitch and tug it tightly so the little loop disappears. And now we're going to be starting round 2. And we are not going to be doing any chains for this portion of the bag. We're just going to lift the loop up slightly to give us a little bit of height, and then we're going to go directly into round 2. So the slip stitch is from back to front, no chaining, just lift it up slightly, and then work a single crochet into the very first stitch as normal. So it's super easy, maybe just a little bit different than what you're used to seeing, and this just helps make the seam on the bag kind of disappear disappear a little bit. So after you work that first single crochet into the first stitch, work a second one into the same spot, and then work 2 single crochet into the second stitch, work 2 single crochet into the third, and continue doing this for the first 6 stitches. So you're going to be increasing in those first 6 stitches of the round. So increasing, just working 2 single crochet into the same stitch for the first 6 stitches. So after you've increased 6 times and you have a total of 12 single crochet, we're just going to continue down the side of the bag, working 1 single crochet into each stitch across until we get to the other end, where we will be increasing again. So after you work those 12, you're just going to be working 1 single crochet into the next 26 stitches. So work 26 stitches and I will meet you on the other side. So once you get down to the other end, after working your 26 stitches, we're going to just be increasing again like we did in the beginning. So you're just going to be working another 12 stitches. We're going to be increasing in the next 6. So in this following stitch, work 2 single crochet. And then in the stitch right after that, work another 2 single crochet. Same with the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth. So just increase 6 times. So after you do those 6 increases, you're just going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way to the end of the round. And if you want, you can use a stitch marker, but I found I really didn't need it, so I'm just going to be removing it because you can clearly see where that first single crochet is made since it's raised up higher and this isn't a continuous round. So I'm just going to take out my stitch marker and we're going to be joining the same way as before. So take your hook out of the loop and then just insert your hook from back to front. Again, it can be a little bit hard working your hook in there, but it's going to help us a lot with the seam. So insert your hook from back to front and then just place the loop from your last stitch back onto your hook. And then we're just going to pull it through that stitch to join. And again, just make sure you tug it tightly once you pull it through to help that little loop disappear, the slip stitch disappear. So just give it a little tug and then raise the current loop that's on your hook up slightly to give us a little bit of height and to start the next round. So at the end of round 2, you should have a total of 76 single crochet before beginning round 3. So again, just lift your loop up slightly. And for round 3, we're going to start it the same exact way. We're not going to do any chains. So this is how we'll do it for the rest of the bag. Just work a single crochet into the very first stitch. And continue by working 1 single crochet into the next stitch and then 1 single crochet into the third. So in the first 3 stitches of the round, you're just going to be working 1 single crochet into each of them. And then after that, we're going to be doing our increases. So again, we're going to be working 2 single crochet stitches into the same spot for the next 6 stitches. So work 3 single crochet and then increase for the next 6 stitches for a total of 12 in the increasing. And then we're just going to move on back to working a single crochet into each stitch after that. So after you work your 6 increases, you're just going to work 1 single crochet into the following 32 single crochet. So in the next 32 stitches, work 1 single crochet into each of them, and then I will meet you back on the other end for some more increasing. Okay, so once you've worked your 32 single crochet, you're just going to work 2 single crochet into the next 6 stitches, just like we did on the other side. So you're going to be doing 2 into the next stitch, and then after you have that, just work the remaining stitches 1 single crochet into each of them until you reach the end of the round. Okay, and then once you reach the end of the round, we're going to be joining the exact same way. So remove your hook, insert your hook into the first stitch made from back to front, pull that loop over back onto your hook, and then just pull it through the stitch, tugging a little tightly to join, and then raise the loop on your hook slightly to start us off for round 4. And at the end of round 3, you should have a total of 88 single crochet. And we have round 4 coming up now, and this is our last round where we are going to be doing increasing. So for round 4, work 1 single crochet into the first 6 stitches. Make sure you don't skip the first stitch where we slip stitched into. That's where your first single crochet will be. And then work 5 more into the following stitches. So a total of 6 single crochet to start us off. So once you have your first 6 single crochet, then we're just going to be increasing in the next 6 stitches. So work 2 single crochet into the following 6 stitches. So once you have your increases done, you're just going to work 1 single crochet into the next 38 stitches to get to the other side where we'll be doing some more increasing. So 1 single crochet in the next 38 stitches. All right, we're on the other side, so we're just going to increase in the next 6 stitches. So work 2 single crochet into the following 6 stitches of the round. All right, so now just finish off the round by working 1 single crochet in each remaining stitch until you get to the end of the round. All right, so that completes round 4, and you should have a total of 100 single crochet at the end of this round. That was our last increase round, so now we are just going to be staying at 100 single crochet for our stitch count for the main portion of the bag. So again, you're going to be slip stitching to join from back to front, and then just pull that loop in and give it a little tug. And for round 5, you're just going to be working 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way around, so no more increasing. Just go ahead and work 1 single crochet into each stitch and then slip stitch to join once you get back around to the beginning. Okay, so that round that we just did is what we are going to be doing throughout the rest of the bag until we reach the handle portion. So the rest of the rows are just going to be a round 5 repeat. So you're just going to slip stitch to join back to front and then work 1 single crochet in each stitch around. The only difference is you will be changing colors here soon, so I'll show you how to do that. But for rounds 6, 7, and 8, go ahead and repeat round 5, just working 1 stitch in each stitch around. Okay, so I just completed round 8, and now I'm going to show you guys how to change colors. It's super easy. We're going to be slip stitching to join the exact same way and then just bringing in our second color. So again, slip stitch to join from back to front, and we are starting round 9 at this point, and we're going to be bringing in color B. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So again, you're going to remove your hook, insert it from back to front in the very first stitch made. Bring the loop back over and place it on your hook and then pull it through the stitch. Tug that tight. And now we're going to be bringing in our second color. So grab your color B and place it on the end of your hook. And then just pull it through the loop on your hook. And then you're going to take color A, the one that we were just working with, and tug it down tightly until it disappears. And now our working color is color B. So just grab on to that new strand and tug the other ones down tightly. And you can see now it was a clean color change, and we're just going to start off round 9 with our new color. So for rounds 9 through 12, you're going to be repeating round 5 with color B. And once you finish the rows 9 through 12, you're going to be switching back to color A for the following 2 rounds. And I'm not going to show you guys every single round because it's the same exact repeat, and I just showed you how to change colors. So make sure you refer to the written pattern at this point and see which rounds you use what colors and when to switch the color. So other than that, it's just working 1 single crochet stitch in each round, and then you can either look at a photo or go view my written pattern free on my blog to see where to change the colors. And then I will meet you back here after you complete all those rounds and show you how to do the handles. Okay, so we're coming up to the end of round 48. So just go back and check, make sure you have all of the rounds completed. You can either count them or just check and see which stripe you are on to make sure you have all of them complete. And now we are going to be joining so we can begin round 49 and our straps. So instead of doing a slip stitch that we have been back to front, we're going to just do a regular slip stitch from front to back in that very first stitch of the round. So insert your hook and then just yarn over and pull through the stitch and the loop on your hook for 1 slip stitch. Then insert your hook in the next stitch and work another slip stitch, and then into the next stitch and work a 3rd slip stitch. And we're going to keep doing this until we have a total of 5 slip stitches. So insert your hook into the next one and then into the 5th for your 5th slip stitch of the round. And now we're going to be working our first single crochet, so just raise that loop up slightly, and in that same stitch that you worked the final slip stitch, you're going to work 1 single crochet. So go ahead and do that, and then we're going to continue around. You're going to be making 1 single crochet into the next 30 stitches. So work all the way around. That'll bring us to the other side of the bag so that we can start our first handle. So after that very first single crochet, work 30 more for a total of 31. And then when you get around here to the other side, we're going to be working our first handle. So we're going to be skipping over some stitches at this point, so I'm just going to count them out and then mark them off. You're going to skip over the next 19 stitches. So if you want, you can use your stitch marker and just place that after those 19 stitches are counted out so you know how many to skip over. And then you're going to be making a chain to create the handle. So I'm going to chain 29 and skip over 19 stitches. If you want your handle longer, you can just do more chains. I recommend going up to chain 39, so just add more chains. If you want your handle longer, I'm just going to do 29 for mine. So go ahead and work your chains and then skip over those stitches that we marked out, and then join your first single crochet into the following stitch after those marked off 19. So again, I skipped 19, and then I'm just going to single crochet in to the stitch right after that, and then continue single crocheting around. I'm going to have a total of 31 single crochet on this side after that handle. So work 31 single crochet stitches, and then we're going to make our next handle on the other side. So make the same amount of chains that you did on the first one. So again, I'm going to chain 29, and then I have 19 stitches remaining in this round. So I'm just going to skip over all of those stitches, and those single crochet or those slip stitches that we did in the beginning do count as part of that 19. So make sure you skip over those and then just work your next stitch of the round into the first single crochet that we made. So that's how you know that that completes the round. So chain 29 and then single crochet into the very first single crochet of the previous round to complete round 49. And you should have 62 single crochet and 58 chains from round 49, and this single crochet that we just made counts as the first single crochet of round 50. And this round's really, really easy for round 50. You're just going to single crochet around until you reach this first chain space. And then when you reach the first chain space, which is our handle, we're just going to work our single crochets into it. So don't work them into the actual chains, but you just want to work it around the entirety of the chain. And I'm going to be working a total of 29 single crochet into the chain space. So I chained 29 and I'm going to be single crocheting 29 into it as well. And then once you work all of those into the handle, you're going to continue around to this next handle here, work 29 into it, and that finishes off the round. So you've just single crocheted all the way around, working your stitches into the chain spaces, and that completes round 50 for a total of 120 single crochet. And after that, you can just keep going for round 51, work one single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So don't worry about joining after that last round, just continue around one stitch into each stitch. And then when you reach back around to the beginning again for round 52, you can do the same exact thing. Just work one single crochet into each stitch around the bag. Okay, so we're coming up to the end of round 52, which is the final round, and we are just going to slip stitch over a couple of times to tie off. So just insert your hook into the following stitch and then yarn over, pull through, and then just pull that yarn all the way through, and you can go ahead and cut your yarn to tie off. And now I will show you how to add the little details on the stripes. So I just did some cute little dots and dashes here on my bags, and the dots are actually just French knots. So if you are familiar with embroidery, then you will already know how to do these. They're really simple to do, but I'll show you really quick how to work them up. And then the dashes, I just used my needle and weaved my yarn in and out every few stitches on these stripes. So I'll show you how to do both of those really quick if you want to add this element to your bag. So when you're going to add these little dashes like I did here at the bottom, I just took my needle and pulled up the opposite color yarn through the stripe in the very center of the 4 brown rows, and you can pull it up through any stitch that you want to. And here I am just doing the second portion of it, and I'm just lining it up with the dashes from below if you want it to be even. And then just pull your yarn up through. And what I did for mine was just skipped over every 2 stitches around the entirety of the bag. Just pull enough yarn through to get you around, and then you can go ahead and cut it. And when you pull your yarn up, you're just going to skip over 1 and then 2, so you can easily count that by just seeing the little holes that the single crochet stitches make. And so you want to skip over 2 of those, and then just put your needle into that next one and push it down. Make sure you're not snagging the other side of the bag when you pull this through. You don't want to accidentally sew anything together. And then you can just pull it all the way through. Make sure you leave a few inches of the tail on the inside so that you can tie it in a knot and weave it in when you're done. And once you go down to the inside of your bag, just skip over 2 stitches again and stick your needle in and pull it back up and through. And then you're just going to repeat this all the way around. So it's really, really simple to do. I'm just weaving it through the stitches, and you could honestly do it however you wanted to. You could skip more stitches if you want, or less. This is something that you can just have fun with and be creative with. So if you don't like where I placed mine, you can easily move it around and place your stitches where you like them. So just repeat this all the way around till you reach the beginning, and then I will show you guys quickly how to do the little French knots that I did. Okay, so I just wanted to point out that I centered my French knots above the little dashes. So you can see following along with the stitches, that's where I placed the knots just to keep everything nice and even. So I wanted to point that out if you wanted to make sure that you start your French knot in the same spot. And then I'm just going to keep going and do that same thing up above on the second row as well when I do them. So just a heads up, if you care about them being even, make sure you take a look at where you start your first knot. So something really important about these little French knots when you're sticking it through this yarn and fabric, you can see here I'm putting my needle through a single crochet stitch, but I'm doing it kind of right behind that right leg of the single crochet. And I'm going to, when I come back down, I'm going to be putting it through a different spot so that the little knot doesn't pop out the other side. So just be aware of that. And I found coming up and behind that right leg of the single crochet worked best for me. So make sure you leave a tail of yarn on the inside of your bag so you can secure it when we are done, and just pull that yarn all the way through. So when you work your French knot, you're going to take your needle and put it right down by the stitch and wrap it around your needle twice. So there's once and twice, and I just held it in place with my finger. And then this is the important part: when you go back in, make sure you're not doing it through the same spot you came up from. So you can see my single crochet stitch here. I'm gonna put it behind the left leg of the single crochet stitch now instead of the right. I'm just going to point it out to you guys a little bit better because I don't want you to miss this. So the first side I popped up from the right, and I'm going to go down through the left side of the stitch. So the center of the stitch is kind of in the middle of that and holding it together. So there I am sticking it back in, and then just grab your needle on the other side. And then hold on to this yarn here gently so that it doesn't tug all the way through and pop back out. And then just pull the tail of yarn all the way through. And then when you get close to the end of the thread, you can just let go, and it makes this cute little French knot. And then you're just going to repeat this all the way around. If you guys want a more in-depth tutorial on these, there are a ton of videos that are much better than mine. I am not an expert at embroidery, so if you want to see it a little bit more clearer, or if you want a little bit more of a better explanation, I definitely recommend searching that up on YouTube. There's a ton of them out there, so just a heads up. So I skipped over 3 stitches in between each French knot and then just repeated it all the way around my bag. And then when I was done, I just tied off and then tied those 2 ends together in a knot on the inside of my bag before weaving in the ends. Okay, so once you have all of your extra elements that we've added to the bag, I'm going to make a pocket for mine and sew it on the inside of my bag. So this is totally optional, but I definitely recommend it. Who doesn't love an extra pocket for their bags? And it was also super quick and easy to do. So just grab your yarn in whichever color you want to use and make a slip knot. And then you are going to chain 31. So just yarn over and pull through a total of 31 times. After you make your starting chain, we are just going to work single crochet stitches back down that. So in the second chain from the hook, you're just going to work 1 single crochet into it and work a single crochet into each stitch across the row for a total of 30 single crochet. So just insert your hook and then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. When you get to the end of the row, you're just going to chain 1 and turn your work, and then work 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way back across for a total of 24 rows. So just chain 1 single crochet in each of the 30 stitches, and then turn your work. Do this for a total of 24, or however tall you would like your pocket to be. Okay, so here's my pocket. I have a total of 24 rows, and then I'm just going to tie off. Make sure when you cut your yarn that you pull enough through to sew 3 sides of it to your bag. So you can just estimate that and then pull it through before cutting off your yarn. Okay, and then really quickly before I add my pocket, I'm going to weave in the ends on my bag. So you can see here the loose ends from where I did the little French knots and the dashes. I'm just going to take the 2 ends of them and tie them into a knot to secure, and then I'm just going to use my needle and weave these in to the inside of the bag. So if you're not familiar with weaving in ends, you can definitely check out a more in-depth tutorial on YouTube for that. But I'm just going to use my needle and then weave in all these extra ends back and forth 2 or 3 times in the bag, and do this for all of the ends that are sticking out. And then we're just going to take our pocket, and you can decide which side of the bag you want it on. I'm going to do it on the side that has the seam, so on the inner side of the bag, the one that will be closest to me when I'm holding it. And then we are just going to sew it on. So you can line it up evenly. I just used my stripes as a guide, and then use your needle and sew it to the bag. Make sure when you're sewing that you don't poke through to the other side. You just want to kind of grab that inside of the single crochet and don't stick it all the way through. You're just going to put it through the inner edge of it, so that you can't see the sewing on the outside of your bag, and then just do it all the way down to that corner, and then across the bottom and back up to the other side, making sure you don't sew up that top portion of it. Okay, and then after that, our bag is finished. I have my pocket all sewn in, all my ends are weaved, and I decided to make a quick little tassel. If you want to make a tassel, there's tons of tutorials on that as well. And then I'm just going to sew it in to this stitch here at the corner of my bag. You can either sew it in and weave in the ends, or you can just pull it through and tie it in a little knot or bow tie in case you want to remove it later. But I just think it's a really cute element added to the bag, and then that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one.